Alright, y'all, back at it again. My last video I talked about being a stand-up comedian and people hated that, so I took it down. Not just because I hated it, but I actually hated recording it too. And it hurt my feelings for a bit. I cried about it for a month, but I'm over it now. And I'm gonna talk about something a little bit more, I guess you could say more deep. This is about the kind of friends you have and people who are enablers. So, you might know what an enabler is. They basically just say that however you behave, however you act is okay. Especially when it comes to behavior that has a negative impact on your life. I was an enabler for one of my friends, a former roommate, and I've had people enable my behavior too. But in my opinion, enablers make terrible friends. So this video might be kind of short. People who really care about you, they're going to call you out for any kind of negative behavior. So say, for example, if you're an alcoholic and you're consuming alcohol, not just to the point where you rely on it to function, but also to the point where, you're making really bad decisions and it's having a negative effect on your life. Now, someone who's an enabler, and like I said, this is just an example, they might encourage their friend to drink, just to get loose, chill, and that's going to have a negative impact on that person. Well, more so. Whereas someone who would be a really good friend, say for example, if I was an alcoholic, I never was, but if I was, a good friend would tell me that I'm making a big mistake and that my drinking habits are having a negative impact on my life, or going to. Or better yet, they would point out all the things that I'm doing wrong and everything that's wrong with my life, or like I said before, all the negative impact it's having on my life. A good friend will point that out to me. And it goes for, like I said, any kind of negative behavior that's having a bad impact on your life. So say someone overeats, they're overweight or obese. An enabler would think lightly of their eating habits, all the weight gain. They would probably encourage them to just eat what they want, or not to worry about losing weight, or take care of themselves. That's what an enabler would do. A genuine good friend, or even family member, would raise their concerns, and they would tell them that what they're doing is unhealthy, that what they're doing is bad for them, and that they're at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and other diseases related to being overweight or obese. So you should be able to tell the difference by now. And this video is just about how, certain friends are either going to be enablers or they're going to be true, genuine friends. Because in my opinion, and from my perspective, I've had friends who are enablers, who have pointed out any bad behaviors I've done. Nothing that serious, but it wasn't good for me either. I've had good friends point that out to me, and they didn't just say, hey, stop it. They actually recommended alternatives for me. Because you can tell someone to stop a behavior, but it's more effective if you actually give them an alternate behavior so that they don't sit back into that bad habit or that negative behavior too. So they would do that for me. Those are the real homies. And I've even tried, not to enable any of my friends for their behaviors too. Some of them didn't take it very well, because when someone's negative behavior is enabled for so long by so many people, it's a problem when somebody points out that negative behavior, and that person might get offended, they might lash out, or they might make excuses because they spent so long listening to people tell them that their negative behavior isn't negative. So I've tried that with some of my friends, and like I said, they got offended and they lashed out. I think one of them even cried. So that's the damage that being an enabler does, as you can see. Because a true, genuine friend is going to tell you that you're making a mistake, like I said before. I don't mean to sound like a broken record or a video on loop. that what you're doing is going to have a negative impact on your life. The people who say that to you, while it may come across as a bit mean or hostile, well, yeah, just mean, they're actually the people who care about you because they want you to grow and be a better person. So, you know, as nice as it is to have someone enable your bad behavior, someone who calls you out on it really cares about you and really wants to help you. Because enablers make terrible friends. The saying, I've heard this one saying that if you want to help someone, tell them what they need to hear. If you want to help yourself, tell them what they want to hear. So enablers are also kind of helping themselves. I don't know where that quote came from. Something from the internet. Don't quote that on me. Don't quote me on that, however you say it. And this is just a message that I want to get out to people. If you are engaging in any kind of bad behavior, you know, it doesn't have to be overeating or alcoholism. Those are just examples. Any kind of negative behavior, or you know someone, family member, friend, coworker, colleague, and people are enabling them, they're doing more harm than good. Someone who actually cares about them, you know, that could be you, might call it out and offer alternatives. And, you know, if they don't want help, then shit, you know, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. Like I said, it's going to be short. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.